أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروني ولا تكفرون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة. إن الله مع الصابرين. فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروني ولا تكفرون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة. إن الله مع الصابرين. ولا تقولوا لمن يقتل في سبيل الله أموات، ولا تقولوا لمن يقتل في سبيل الله أموات، بل أحياء ولكن لا تشعرون. ولا تقولوا لمن يقتل في سبيل الله بل أحياء ولكن لا تشعرون. ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة وبشر الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة وبشر الصابرين الذين أصابتهم مصيبة. وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة وأولئك هم المهتدون وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة وأولئك هم المهتدون وزد وبارك على رسول الله وآله الأطهار على رسول الله وآله الأطهار. اللهم يقرأ الفاتحة مع الإخلاص والصلوات.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Today is truly a sorrowful night. The tragedies that befell the children of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam did not stop with the demise of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. They continued and continued for long periods of time as the women and children of the Ahl al-Bayt were paraded in humiliation from one place to the next. Insha'Allah, tonight we'll be reliving this story and grieving, shedding our tears for the love of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. Jazakallah khairan. Respected Qari, as always, touching our hearts with that beautiful recitation of the Quran. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salat. Patience and prayer. Two of the most important lessons of Karbala, some of the most important. Insha'Allah ta'ala, we can remember this and be inspired by the great example of the heroes of Karbala. For the next segment, I would like to invite Brother Mustafa Bismi to deliver a short presentation for the night. Please welcome him with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Is it okay if I can sit down?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين أبي القاسم محمد صل على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Tonight is a night of great sorrow. And it is a night that we recall every year, and it reminds us of our duty to martyrdom and how its importance is played in a big role in Islam. The weight of the deed of giving your life for the sake of God. There is no deed that compares to it. Whether you look at it from a fiqh perspective or you look at it from a philosophical perspective, you can give your money away, right, in terms of charity, but to give your life away, there's nothing beyond that. There's no greater sacrifice from a poetic standpoint or from a material standpoint that you can give rather than giving your life, right? The topic I want to talk to you about today, I found it very interesting ever since I grew up, and that is the topic. Let me introduce you into the topic. the thing about martyrdom, right, which really intrigued me, is all Shias, we can rally behind the concept. It empowers us in a way. It gives us purpose. It gives us reason to stand behind a cause, right? This could be from a wise man's perspective, and this can be from a fool's perspective. Many wars are, created by the wise men and fought by the fools, like globally throughout time, right? But one thing I found really interesting, when I looked into Imam Hussein's sacrifice, I noticed Imam al-Hassan's life is not talked about as much compared to Imam Hussein. Whereas his actions and the actions and the planning of Imam al-Hassan also saved the lives of the Shias, right? And it had the same effect in terms of, keeping safeguard of the lives of the believers. And when we think about that, we think about martyrdom and going directly into war. That's the number one thing that we think about. And what I found really interesting, when I looked into the treaty that Imam al-Hassan signed with Muawiyah, one that's not talked about that much amongst Shias. And even back then, this is an interesting thing. When Imam al-Hassan, it is narrated by the later Imams, when Imam al-Hassan was walking on the street, it's interesting, people used to come up to him and they used to say to him, "Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, O degrader of the believers." Right? Now who is saying that? Think about it. It's not Muawiyah's men. It's his own Shia. Right? His own Shia are coming up to him and saying, "Peace be upon you, O degrader of the Muslims." You know why? It's because that concept, like I said, martyrdom is very honorable, right? It's a very noble thing. And so the opposite of that, in times of peace, treaties and to hold back and to conceal the faith, is seen as a cowardly act, even from among the Shias at the time of the Imams and even now. It's an interesting thing. And this is why it's overlooked, and this is why Imam al-Hassan is not mentioned as much as Imam al-Hussein, even though the impact they had was both grand and significant. So peace be upon you, O degrader of the Muslims. The Imam would reply, "I am not the degrader of the believers, rather I am elevating the believers. Verily, when I saw that you had no strength in numbers and in belief and firmness of belief, to overpower Muawiyah's army, I made peace in order that you may remain alive in your midst. Like the wise one Al-Khidr, who damaged the boats in order for it to be spared for its owners." You see, this is what I mean by war can be fought by the wise and the fool, but something like this is only supported by the wise. And that's why it's overlooked. "Thus I did act for yours and my benefit in order that we may remain alive among them." Now this is the topic I want to talk about today. And it is a topic about taqiyya. Now when I looked into it when I was growing up, I thought taqiyya was like some sort of get out of jail free card or something that the Shias pulled out of their pocket at convenience, right? That's my perception of taqiyya. From a non-Muslim looking outside into Shia Islam, that's how it's perceived, right? The more I looked into it, I realized it's much more deeper than that. And it's much more, it's not just about, some guy's got a gun to your head and all of a sudden you're not a Shia anymore. That's not how it works. It's much more deeper than that. It goes into saying, if you look at, this is what I found really, really interesting. When I started observing the Shias at the time of the Imams, it's a very important thing to do. Look at how the Shias behaved and how they followed the Imams at the time of the Imams. You will see the same archetypes today. Very, very interesting. At the time of the Imams, there were Shias who believed that if the Imams told them something in confidence, in private, it is sort of like an honor to announce it to the public. Right? It's a very interesting point because this taqiyya is, in definition, it's like protecting your life, right? And people think that, all only Shias practice it. It goes into even like breaking down the concept of it. It even goes into like, eating non-halal food to save your life is a form of that, right? But the concept, the main area of taqiyya that is like heavily misunderstood amongst Shias is the idea of concealment of secrets. Now, secrets defined by the Imams is anything which jeopardizes the safety of the Muslims. Once that is revealed and divulged to people who could use that to then justify killing you, that is known and titled as a secret of the Imams. For example, at the time of Imam as-Sadiq, if the Imam comes up to you and tells you something private about the Khalif of the time, if you go into the streets and you divulge it, you are jeopardizing the safety of the Imams. In fact, the Imams have said, he says, those who divulge our secrets, it is as if they have, it's not like they have killed us, it is that they have killed us. And when people ask, that's a bit too much, the Imam refers to the verse in the Holy Quran, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Salli ala Muhammad. The verse in the Holy Quran, Imam as-Sadiq says, the Quranic verse says, this is because they went on rejoicing the signs of Allah and slaying the messenger without a just cause. Just because they rebelled and went on transgressing. Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah number 2, verse 61. The Imam responds, I swear by Allah, they did not fight the prophets with their hands or with their swords. They did not kill the prophets. By the way, who killed the prophets? The verse is referring to their own followers. Not the polytheists, not the kings, not the Ad and Thamud, their own followers, like their Shia, the group, their closest followers, killed the Prophet, the Quran is saying. Right? And the Imam says, they did not kill them with the sword or with their hands or something. Rather, they heard their secrets, the secrets of the Prophet, and they divulged them. And the prophets were arrested and killed. And this is why their deeds are considered slaying, transgressing, and sins. It's very interesting. Because the reason why this is interesting, just last week we had Shias being murdered in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Shias are targeted specifically because they're Shias. And oftentimes this happens because people end up slandering and cursing revered figures in Islamic history. People that other Muslims considered important figures, people openly slander and curse them. You know why they slander and curse them openly? The same reason why these people killed the Prophet. The same reason why the Shias at the time of Imam as-Sadiq divulged the secrets. Why? Because it's a sense of pride. Why should I hide my faith? I am strong in my belief. Right? It's an interesting thing. The reason why I'm talking about this on Ashura is because when it comes to Ashura, when it comes to Imam Hussein, when it comes to, we're so proud. Nobody's like concealing anything. We're out there, we put our chest on the table. This isn't always the best way to treat the religion, is what I'm trying to tell you. There are many people who had that same drive. The Shias who called Imam al-Hassan, degrader of the believers, they're the kind of people who are proud Shias. I love Imam Ali, I'll tell everybody about it, I'll die for it. That's why he called Imam Hassan the degrader of the believers. Think about that for 1 second. Imam Hassan in his eyes is the degrader of the believers because he compromised on him being a Shia. It doesn't even make sense. He's the Imam himself. How can he be a weak Shia? It's because that Shia who says degrader of the believers, his understanding of what a Shia is has to be someone who stamps his feet and does not hide anything and puts his heart on the table. You'll notice Shias today are like this. Shias today will say, so what? There are other Muslims who have revered figures. We don't like them. And so we'll let the world know. Out of pride. Out of pride of being a Shia, they will say that. The same pride the Shias at the time of the Imams had that divulged the secrets. I want to recite to you more hadith about this topic. With Imam as-Sadiq says, there is a group of people who claim that I am their Imam. Who is he talking to? Is he talking about the Khalif and their clan? Who is he talking about? There's a group of people that claim, Imam as-Sadiq saying, a group of people that claim I am their Imam. He's talking about Shias. When you read this, I want you to think, am I this guy? Am I who the Imam is defining here? That's scary. You know, the interesting thing about, I always realize, we Shias, we like to boast ourselves. We like to, the Shia of Ali were the best of the world, this, that. We never talk about the Shias at the time of the Imams who were the worst people. And not because they go to the clubs or something. These people are strong faith Shias, but they're not wise in how they act. And as a result, the Imam says, there is a group of people who claim that I am their Imam, but by Allah, I am no Imam of theirs. May Allah curse them. The Imam is cursing Shias. This is why you have to think, do I fit in this group? May Allah curse them. Every time I conceal a secret, they disclose it. Every time I explain a matter, they retort and saying, actually this means such and such, and I am only the Imam of those who obey me. This is Imam as-Sadiq. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Imam al-Baqir says, our Shia are of three types. One type dupes people in our name. One type are like glass which discloses everything inside it. Meaning you can't put a secret in it. Like I said, the proud, I'm Hussein ibn Ali, I'm Shia of Ali. Proud, I'll put my whole heart on the table. There's nothing, it's like clear glass. That guy doesn't hold anything back. He's not concealing anything. He's doing it out of his pride. And pride for Imam Ali, a fool might think, wow, that's a great thing. Here's the thing, I grew up in Indo-Pak community. Slandering revered figures in Islam is a pride for us. It's some sort of like ignorant Jahiliyyah mindset. And what happens? It leads to bomb blasts in Parit Chinar. That's the truth. And according to the Quran, it says those who, one of the verses in the Holy Quran, the Imams explain. It says, and when it comes to them, a touching matter, they divulge it, they expose it. Right? This is a touching matter, and exposing of this matter leads to a bomb blast in Parit Chinar. The Quran says, indeed, they have killed them, like deliberately. They will be punished as if the Shias, pulled the trigger in Parit Chinar. This is how the Imam explains it. This is what the Quran says. You never see anyone thinking like that. Right? It takes wisdom to see that. And what I want you to do when it comes to Imam al-Hussein, there were many Shias. This is the time of Imam as-Sadiq. Of course, they're commemorating Ashura. They're commemorating Muharram. They're proud for the love of the Imam. But they end up being the people that the Imam says, they are not from me, and may Allah curse them. You don't want to fall into this group. This is what I want to talk about. This is where the Shias fork off. They fork into different avenues. We're all proud to be Shia of Ali, and when the Imam says you must conceal things, you must be wise in your approach, people say, no, I am proud to be who I am, I will die for this name, this, that, and they fork into a different avenue. And this is why it's very important to look on how you represent yourself as a Muslim. And on that note, I'd like to close it up there. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Jazakallah khair, Brother Mustafa, for that beautiful reminder and breakdown of what taqiyya actually means, the wisdom behind it, because this is a topic that is misunderstood in both Muslim and non-Muslim circles. Oftentimes non-Muslims, for example, they use this word, they abuse this word as a means to try and show that if a Muslim tells you something, he is lying by default. If he's defending Islam, he's always going to lie. You know, you find yourself as a Muslim in these no-win situations when you're dealing with people like that. And at the same time, the Muslims themselves, they twist the words as well. As the brother said, they link it specifically to one sect, when the word itself, taqiyya, tuqatun, this word is directly in the Quran. This is directly in the Quran. This is not exclusive to one sect. This is universal. And a lot of people don't know this. We learn this as we read the Quran. And it's so important to remember the wisdom and how you linked back to the holy prophets, the way their followers were supposed to deal with sensitive issues in the wisest possible manner. You know, and alhamdulillah, inshallah, we can remember that. And in addition to remembering Imam al-Hussein, we can also remember the wisdom that was reflected in the actions of his brother Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. Inshallah, with that, we'll proceed to the main lecture for tonight. Please welcome His Eminence Sheikh Hamid Waqar with 3 loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبو القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Hajj Gol Ahmed. Amazing recitation. Perfect choice of verses as well. Subhanallah. And Brother Mustafa, very interesting talk. Inshallah, maybe we go out, we could talk about this a little bit, about what the secrets are, if you have time, I don't know. All right. Very difficult night to speak. I hate giving lectures on this night. It just doesn't seem like, what do you want to talk to? What do you want to hear my voice for? Look at what's happening, right? Imam Hussein is on the ground. What's happening to the women of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam? But still, it's a responsibility that I have to do. So inshallah, we'll talk briefly, and then, alhamdulillah, the next segment of the program is not my responsibility, and Brother Hussein gets to bear the weight of speaking on this night, which he'll see why this is the hardest night to speak on of all nights. Now, the question I wanted to discuss, which isn't completely off topic from what Brother Mustafa was mentioning, but not the same thing, but kind of related, is if we could reach the station of Shahada, of mighty drum, of those companions in Karbala. So it's a question, right? Some people raise this question. I wasn't alive with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. I didn't get that tawfiq, that opportunity to sacrifice myself. Right? If the people who were alive at that time and those who were given that tawfiq, if they get all of these rewards, how is that fair? What can I do now to be able to get those rewards? Or rewards similar to those. Right? So this is a question that's posed to the ulama, and ulama have given an interesting answer to this question. Right? So they say that there's a number of traditions, right? And we'll leave the chain of narration and the transmitters, we'll leave that to the side. That's another topic we could discuss at some other time. But these traditions exist, which state that some people will achieve the station of the shuhada, right? Just as if they were fighting alongside Rasulullah or the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. So it's possible. And examples of these traditions, we'll go over a few of them, right? And as we read them, we'll see that having patience is one of the key points, which the verse of Quran that was recited before, at the beginning was discussing this issue. Those who are patient when misfortune befalls them, right? Another one is preparing themselves to follow the Imam of their time, who's Imam al-Zaman alayhi salam. And that's what we've been talking about. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And that's what we've been talking about over these last 10 nights, is that we want to rekindle our pledge to the Imam. We want to reaffirm this pledge that we have with him, right? And this is the perfect time. So first tradition from Imam Baqir alayhi salam. Whoever is patient, sabr, will receive through his patience the station of one who worships at night and a shaheed who is struck in the presence of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So patience is huge. And that's not patience right now, I'm a little bit angry and I'm not going to say anything. This is patience in extreme times. If you want the extreme rewards, you have to exert patience in the most difficult of times. This is Sayyidah Zainab salam alayha, who's patient while witnessing what happened to her brother and children and family and friends. Right? We don't have to go through that tragedy to show our patience, but patience when misfortune befalls, when hardship befalls, because that's when a lot of us falter. That's when a lot of us shake, right? We fall down and then we get back up, alhamdulillah. But that fall shows that we're not there, shows that we're not as patient as we thought we were, and we have to work on ourselves. But when we're able to get hit by very difficult blows of life, very difficult hardships, and not let it knock us down, but rather we respond with patience and we say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, right? As the verse says. In these cases, we could see that we've got somewhere and the rewards are huge. Second one, another one from Imam Baqir alayhi salam. Whoever states that he will help the Qa'im of Al Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, if he sees him, right? So those who say that they'll help him if they see him, is like one who is struck with a sword in his presence, one who becomes shaheed in his presence. So saying that we will support him when we see him, that means we don't see him. When he returns, I will support him. It's very easy to say, obviously. Definitely, I'm going to support Imam al-Zaman, 100%. Right? But if we're not doing our responsibilities on a daily basis, if we're failing these tests over and over again, the likelihood is when he comes, we'll fail as well. So we have to prepare ourselves. Now, it's interesting. There's a story in Iran about a speaker in Isfahan. I've mentioned this story before, not sure in this crowd or not. I don't think, definitely not this year in Muharram, but maybe previously. But it was a speaker who gives lectures in an Islamic society, right? So there's many people in this lecture. There's not, 10, 15 people like here. There's hundreds of people, thousands of people in the audience, right? And he says, how is it that just in Isfahan, there's all of these mu'mineen here, and the Imam only needs 313. I don't get it. How's that the case? Look at the other cities of Iran. Look at cities in Pakistan, Afghanistan, the Middle East, the world. How is there not 313 people? How does that make sense? Right? He doesn't get it. Because we have to be elite if we're going to be one of those three. It's not just we say we're going to be them. It's not just we say we're going to support him. We have to be prepared. So the story goes as follows. And this scholar related this story later on in his life. And he said that a man came to my door and presented himself as the Imam. And I believed him to be the Imam. And even after this story, he still believes it was the Imam. So, right? And he says, do you think that there's 313 people here in Isfahan who would be my followers? So of course, I do. Honestly, I think there are. He says, pick the best 50 of them. Right? Imagine in Sydney, you go and you pick the 50 most mu'min people that you know or have heard about in this city, and you bring them to a house. And you say, you are the ones who are, if anyone, it's going to be you who are going to be the followers of the Imams. If anyone, it's got to be you. So, in Iran, a lot of houses are 2 stories or multiple stories sometimes, and each floor is its own separate unit, and there'd be stairs coming from the outside that go up to the second unit sometimes. Right? So this was that style house. So you go into this courtyard, and you could go into the bottom floor, which was one house, or you could go on the stairs to the top floor, which was the second house. So the Imam was on the top floor. And and everyone entered the courtyard, and the speaker, who is well known and respected, and all of these 50 people trust him, the speaker says, Imam al-Zaman alayhi salam came to me, and he's upstairs right now. And he wants me, he's going to call you guys one by one, and you guys get to go up there and meet your Imam and have a brief conversation with him and pledge your allegiance to him. What an honor. Imagine that happened to you, and you're in that courtyard. How excited would you be at the opportunity of meeting the Imam? You'd be, I don't know, for me, I don't know what I'd do. There's no way I'd be sitting still. I'd be going crazy. So the Imam tells the speaker, send the first person up. So the first person runs up the stairs as fast as you could imagine, right? And he gets to the top of the stairs. All you hear is a big scream. You hear a body fall, and then you see blood fall down the stairs. Right? Now, 49 people left. People aren't as excited anymore. People are a little confused at what just happened. The Imam says, send the second person up. Second person doesn't run like the first one. Walks up the stairs. Again, you hear a big scream. Body hit the floor. Blood fall down the stairs. Now, people are really scared. People don't know what to think. Some people are leaving. Some people are like, I'm out of here. The Imam says, send the third person. Third person very slowly goes up the stairs, reaches the top, scream, body hits the floor, blood flows down the stairs. Looks back at the courtyard. No one's there except for the speaker. Everyone ran away. Speaker doesn't know what's happening either. He walks up the stairs. He sees there's the 3 mu'mineen sitting in the corner. There's 3 dead sheep at the head of the stairs. And the Imam said, you're 50, couldn't even walk up a flight of stairs to see me. You think they're going to be my followers when it comes down, when it's really difficult? right? For us, we're not in that position. We don't have to walk up a flight of stairs in that scenario, right? But we could still test ourselves. Are we breaking the commandments of God on a daily basis? If we are, do you think we're going to run up those stairs? Right? Do you think we're going to be prepared? These are the 50 best people of Isfahan. Right? I know Hussein doesn't like scary stuff, but today's scary. All right, third hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. A person who prays, there's a certain prayer, right? And this prayer is prayed on Eid al-Ghadir. So a person who performs this prayer is like one who was present on the day of Ghadir, who pledged allegiance to the Prophet and is truly a friend of Allah and His Messenger. He is also like one who reached Shahada, martyrdom, in the presence of the Prophet, Imam Ali, Imam Hassan, and Imam Hussein, alayhim salam. He is also like one who's under the flag of Imam al-Zaman. And this is just a certain act of worship, a prayer. Now, obviously, it's not just performing that prayer as a ritual without thinking about it. You have to be present in the moment with khushu, all of that. But this is one of those shortcuts that are given to us. A certain act of worship that holds enormous rewards that we could utilize. Right? So next year on Eid al-Ghadir, inshallah, remind me and we'll remind each other to perform this prayer. But that's one tradition to throw out there. Another one, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Whoever believes in us, confirms our traditions, and awaits our command, our amr, is like one who fights under the banner of the Qa'im, right, of Imam Zaman alayhi salam. Rather is like one who fights under the banner of Rasulullah. So this one, it's believes in us and confirms our traditions. Right? So not only believing that the Imam is Ma'soom and he's our leader, but also obeying what they say. Right? Listening to their words and acting in accordance to them. This is what if we want to reach those rewards and those heights, this is what we need to do. Right? Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, one who awaits the amr of Imam al-Zaman, the command of Imam al-Zaman alayhi salam, is like one who is in his presence and who reaches shahada, reaches martyrdom in his presence. Right? Who awaits the Imam. Is that something that we could say we're doing? We're waiting for the Imam to come? Inshallah. Right? After each one of these nights, we're doing ziyarat, we're doing the dua of Imam al-Zaman. Aren't we waiting for him? One of the ulama, I believe it was Shahid Baheshti, I could be wrong, but in my mind it's Shahid Baheshti, was asked, what does it mean to, or Shahid Mutahiri, sorry, not Baheshti, Mutahiri, was asked, what does it mean to be waiting for the Imam? And he said, it's a feeling that you have in your heart. How do you describe that feeling? The way he described it was this. He said, imagine you invited a really famous international speaker. He didn't say international speaker, but I'm throwing that in. A famous international speaker who's here in Sydney for Muharram giving lectures, right? One of these years. And you invite him to your house this coming Friday. So then on the Friday, you'll clean the house, you'll prepare some food, you'll be excited that this person's coming to your house. Right? You'll have that feeling of, anticipation of his arrival. That's waiting. Then he said, imagine it's not some speaker, right? You're marja. Somehow you invited him, hey, I'll pay a plane ticket, come to my house on Friday and have dinner at my house. And he said, yeah, no worries, I'm coming. Now that anticipation will be just a little bit more than some normal little speaker, right? The marriage is coming to your house. You're going to be cleaning. You're going to be preparing food. You're going to be telling everyone, right? Like, it's going to be a big thing. It's not a small deal, right? The anticipation. Can you imagine the cars coming, right? When each car that passes by, that turns onto your street, you're going to be, is that him? Is that him? Right? That anticipation is going to be there. And then imagine Imam al-Zaman alayhi salam is coming. Somehow he informed you, I'm coming to your house on Friday. We're going to have a sit down and I want to have a little chat with you. Right? Imagine the anticipation of that. Right? I don't know if I would be able to remain conscious as the cars are passing through the street on that day. The level of anticipation would be destroyed. My heart would be pounding out of my chest. At least I hope it would be. Right? That's what it means to be waiting for the Imam. Do we have that feeling? When we make the dua of Imam al-Zaman, is that what's going on inside us? What's going on inside us? Or is it just another ritual that we're doing that we're not even thinking about? Right? If we're really waiting for him, if we're sincerely anticipating his return and trying to do whatever we can to be on his side when he comes back, right? Then yes, we get those rewards. All right, another tradition. Last one for the night. From Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Whoever dies in a state of awaiting the appearance of the Qa'im of Ala Muhammad alayhi salam. So we're waiting for him. We have that level of anticipation. We've prepared ourselves, but we died before he came. Right? We died before he came. Now, whoever is like that is like one who is in the tent. Rather, he's like one who's struck by a sword in the presence of the Imam. Then later on in it's a long tradition, at the end he says this person reaches Shahada, reaches Mahdi drum in the presence of Rasulullah. So just preparing ourselves is what we want to do. Now, over these nights, we've been talking about elite members of history who have fallen. People who were way closer than us. We mentioned the story in the Quran of, what was his name? Bal'am ibn Bashura, if you remember him, right? Who was alive in the time of Nabi Musa alayhi salam. This person was at the heights of spirituality. He was a known Zahid, ascetic. He was someone who they said had access to Isma Azam, the grand holy name of Allah that all of his prayers are answered. Fir'aun found his price. He ended up joining Fir'aun's army and praying against Nabi Musa alayhi salam. Allah gave him a second chance. Remember the animal? Remember that? Fir'aun's army is chasing Bani Israel. They've reached the water. Bani Israel is scared. Nabi Musa is about to strike the water and is about to split. You know the story. One of the soldiers of Fir'aun is Bal'am. His animal stopped. Allah allowed the animal to speak to him and say, do you want me to take you to attack the wali of God? And that didn't even wake him up. Right? So high to where he fell. We talked about Zubair. Remember Zubair? Imam Ali said, Zubair minna ahlul bayt. That's crazy. What an honor for an imam to say he's part of our family. He's part of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Except for when his son came to him. Until his son came. And we described that, the Battle of Jamal, where Zubair went and met Imam Ali in the middle of the battlefield before it started. Imam Ali reminded him of everything. What are you doing, Zubair? And Zubair swore not to fight the Imam and is walking away. And his son says, what would the women think? And that broke him. Right? Prestige. Having a price, prestige. Another one of having a price is that soldier who reached the tent in Safin. Remember that one too? There was a soldier of Imam Ali alayhi salam in the battle of Safin, reached the tent of Muawiyah, went inside. Could have killed Muawiyah. Think about it. If Muawiyah was killed in Safin, would Karbala have even taken place? He wouldn't have been the Khalifa. His son wouldn't have become the Khalifa after him. It would be very unlikely that Karbala took place. This one person could have changed history. But he sold out. Muawiyah found his price. He was in the forefront of Imam Ali's army. Right? There was other people. Who were the other people? Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas. Remember him? Remember how close he was to Rasulullah? How many wars and battles he fought in? All of the things he did. And then again, when Imam Ali says, ask me before you lose me, he's the one who ridiculed the Imam and said, how many hairs are on my head? Right? Fell. We also talked about Qazi Shurey yesterday. Remember Qazi Shurey? Just from yesterday. This one, he was a soldier. Or not a soldier, he was a judge. In the time of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Remember the story of him and the Christian that we mentioned yesterday? The Christian who stole the saddle from Imam Ali alayhi salam. They go to court. The judge rules in the favor of the Christian. Right? Qazi Shurey rules in the favor of the Christian because Imam Ali alayhi salam didn't have evidence. He made the right judgment. If you were a judge, you had to make that judgment. Obviously, the truth is one thing, but the evidence that's presented in front of you, you have to judge in accordance to that. So he made the right judgment. Imam Ali alayhi salam was happy with it. Although it was against him, he was happy with it. The Christian became Muslim because of that. He accepted Islam. What happened to this Christian man? I didn't mention this yesterday. This Christian man, just a few days later, a few months later, goes to the Battle of Safin and becomes shaheed. So this Christian accepts Islam, reaches the station of Shahada. This judge, what happened to him? Right? He realizes the station of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and writes a letter for the Imam to come to Kufa. The Imam goes to Kufa. The Imam doesn't get to Kufa, but he travels, sends Muslim ibn Aqil, and then Qazi Shurey, right? When Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad attacked Hani, the supporter of Muslim, and imprisoned him, and asked Qazi Shurey, I told the story yesterday, asked him to please just tell the protesters that Hani is alive and he'll be okay. Qazi Shurey supported the dhalim, the oppressor, and the protests quelled and quieted. Remember Sayyid Khamenei? He said if Qazi Shurey did not do that, Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad might have been overpowered. Karbala might not have happened. Right? From Qazi Shurey. Think about that. Moments that people slip and make a mistake, and their lives, or their lives in connection to the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam are destroyed. Why are we scaring each other? Why am I trying to bring you down here? Right? I don't want you to lose hope and say that there's nothing I could do. I want you to realize you're not there yet. I'm not there yet. I know I'm nowhere near there. None of us should feel that, yes, I am one of the 313, and once Imam comes, he's going to select me. We should always feel that we have to improve, that we might not be as high as we think we are. I need to do whatever I can to make sure that I get closer to Allah, that I get closer to Imam Zaman alayhi salam, that my pledge with him becomes stronger and stronger, and that I prepare myself more and more so that when he does come, I'm not going to be one of those who turn their backs on him. What a disaster that would be. We come to these majalis every year and cry for Imam Hussein, and then when Imam Zaman comes, we turn our back on him. Think of the musibah of that, right? We have to really prepare. That's, inshallah, if anything you get from these 10 lectures, and tomorrow, inshallah, we have one more. If anything you get is that, okay, I want to continue to prepare myself, and I want to take a step closer, then inshallah there were successful lectures. I'd be happy with that. If anyone just thinks about, how can I further prepare myself for the coming of Imam Zaman alayhi salam? That's a beautiful ending. Now, as I mentioned, tonight, Shaam-e-Ghareeban, disaster. This is the worst. Remember when Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam was asked about all of the tortures, he didn't say it was the slaughters of the people on the grounds of Karbala. He said it was what happened to everyone afterwards. And that's for another day. I don't know what Hussein's going to talk about here. I don't know what tragedies he's going to remind us of. Maybe it's the Imam on the floor being trampled by horses. When Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam was shrouded or buried his father, he said his chest was inside his back. Think about that. From the horses. Maybe he's going to talk about what Yazid's army did to the little children running around scared, ripping earrings and who knows what out of their ears. I don't know what he's going to tell you. But remember, this is the night that breaks all of the hearts of all of the Shia around the world. Make sure, inshallah, you open your hearts and you welcome these tragedies and cry for them after 3 loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Tonight is Shaam-e-Ghareeban. Tonight is a night of sorrow and grief. Tonight is a night of tragedy and pain. Tonight is a night that is so difficult to explain. Tonight is a night that tears through the heart and shatters the soul. 73 brave warriors chosen by Allah lie upon the hot desert plains of Karbala. Their heads are severed, their bodies are looted and crushed, trampled beneath the hooves of the enemy horses. The atmosphere is thick with the cries of the women and children of Rasulullah Muhammad. Wa Husayna, wa Husayna, wa Husayna, Ayna al-Abbas, Ayna Ali Akbar, Ayna al-Husayn, where are you, Ya Abi Abdullah? They begin to pillage and plunder the women of Ali Muhammad. They begin to burn the tents, and the women and children are running around. They are running in a frenzy, not knowing where to go or what to do. No safety or refuge for the family of Muhammad. Where are you, Ya Abi Abdullah? Sukaina is running and screaming for her father. Aina, Ya Abi, Aina. Shimmer comes upon Sukaina. He slaps her across the face and rips her earrings. Blood pours out of those small ears, and Sukaina cries, where are you, Ya Abi Abdullah? Imam al-Sajjad cannot stand. He cannot stand. He is so sick and so pain. He is so much in pain. Imam al-Sajjad is forced and he is placed in chains. Imam al-Sajjad is flogged, and he is flogged until there is no skin on his back, only flesh and blood. Where are you, Ya Abi Abdullah? The women of Ali Muhammad are unveiled. The veils are taken from their faces. They are marched from one place to the other in humiliation. Where are you, Ya Abi Abdullah al-Husayn? Ali Muhammad is forced to look upon the severed heads of their family. They are forced to look upon the severed head of Abbas and Qasim and Ali Akbar. They are forced to look upon your head, Ya Abi Abdullah. Ayna al-Husayn, Ayna al-Abbas, Ayna Ali Akbar. Where are you, brave warriors of Karbala, when the women and children have no one to defend them? Where are you, Ya ayyuha shuhada? The women and children are dragged towards Kufa. They are dragged towards Kufa, and the people look upon them. No veils covering their faces. They are forced to march. They are forced to march in humiliation. Where are you, Ya Abi Abdullah? Ayn al-Hussein? Ayn al-Hussein? لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين. كل يوم العاشوراء كل أرض الكربلاء كل يوم العاشوراء كل أرض الكربلاء. Everyone rise. كل يوم العاشوراء كل أرض الكربلاء كل يوم العاشوراء كل أرض الكربلاء كل يوم العاشوراء كل أرض الكربلاء.
يا حسين 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 يا حسين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سلام سلام خاک نشینوں پہ سوگواروں کا، غریب دیتے ہیں پرسہ تمہارے پیاروں کا. سلام ان پر جنہیں شرم کھائے جاتی ہے، کھلے سروں پہ اسیری کی خاک آتی ہے. سلام اس پر جو زحمت کشے سلاسل ہے، مصیبتوں میں امامت کی وہ پہلی منزل ہے. سلام بھیجتے ہیں ہم اپنی شہزادی پر کہ جن کو سونپ گئے مرتے وقت گھر سرور. مسافرت نے جسے بے بسی یہ دکھلائی، نثار کر دیے بچے نہ بچ سکا بھائی. اسیر ہو کے جسے شامیوں کے نرغے میں حسینیت ہے سکھانا، علی کے لہجے میں. سکینہ بی بی تمہارے یہ غلام حاضر ہیں، بجھے جو پیاس تو اشکوں کے یہ جام حاضر ہیں. یہ سن یہ حشر یہ صدمے نئے نئے بی بی کہاں بیٹھی ہو خیمے خیمے تو جل گئے بی بی، پہاڑ رات بڑی دیر ہے سویرے میں، کہاں ہو شام غریباں کے گھپ اندھیرے میں، زمین گرم یتیمی کی سختیاں بی بی، وہ سینہ جس پا کے سوتی تھی بی بی، اب کہاں ہے وہ سینہ بی بی، جناب مادر ہے شیر کو بھی سب کا سلام، جناب مادر بے شیر کو بھی سب کا سلام، عجیب وقت ہے کیا دیں تسلیوں کا پیام، ابھی کلیجے میں ایک آگ سی لگی ہوگی، ابھی تو گود کی گرمی نہ کم ہوئی ہوگی، نہیں اندھیرے میں کچھ سوجھتا کہاں ڈھونڈیں، تمہارا چاند کہاں چھپ گیا اسے کہاں ڈھونڈیں، نہ اس طرح کوئی کھیتی ہری بھری اجڑی، تمہاری مانگ بھی اجڑی ہے کوکھ بھی اجڑی، نہیں لائنوں میں انسان کوئی خدا حافظ، درندے اور یہ بابرسی خدا حافظ، درندے اور یہ بے وارسی خدا حافظ، سلام محسن اسلام خستہ تن لاشوں کو، سلام تم پر شہیدوں کے بے کفن لاشوں، شریک حق کے درود و سلام پیغمبر، سلام سید لولاک کے لٹے گھر پر، سلام تم پر رسول و بطول کے پیاروں، سلام مہر امامت کے گرد سیاروں، بچے تو اگلے برس ہم ہیں اور یہ غم پھر ہے، جو چل بسے تو یہ اپنا سلام آخر ہے۔ اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد. Please rise so I can recite Noha. یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، مولا حق امام یا حسن 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 یا حسین، یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین. زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں، ہائے شام غریباں. زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں، ہائے شام غریباں. زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں، ہائے شام غریباں. زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں، ہائے شام غریباں. زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں، ہائے شام غریباں، ہائے شام غریباں. ہائے چھن گیا ہر آسرا سجاد بھی بیمار ہے، پہرے پہ یہ بنت علی اور کربلا کی رات ہے، اور کربلا کی رات ہے، اور کربلا کی رات ہے، اور کربلا کی رات ہے. مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین، مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین، مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین، یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین. مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین، مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین، مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین، مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین. صدموں سے جگر چھلنی آنکھوں سے رواں آنسو، بے سر ہیں سبھی لاشیں مقتل میں پڑے ہر سو. اجڑا ہے گلستان ہائے شام غریباں. زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں. زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں. یوں اجر رسالت کا امت نے چکایا ہے، شبیر کو دھوکے سے کربل میں بلایا ہے. مارا گیا مہمان ہائے شام غریباں، مارا گیا مہمان ہائے شام غریباں. زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں. زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں. پالا تھا جسے ماں نے ہائے نازوں سے وہ بھائی، اس بھائی کے لاشے سے چپ چاپ گزر آئی. دے آئی اب امتحان ہائے شام غریباں، ہائے شام غریباں. زینب ہے پریشان، زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں. زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں. ٹوٹے ہوئے نیزے سے ہائے پہرا وہ دیتی ہے، آ جاؤ میرے غازی رو رو یہ کہتی ہے. مشکل میں میری جان ہائے شام غریباں. زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں. زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں. ایک دن میں بھرے گھر کو زینب نے لٹایا ہے، اس دین محمد کو زینب نے بچایا ہے. اتنا بڑا احسان ہائے شام غریباں. زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں. زینب ہے پریشان ہائے شام غریباں. ہائے نانا کی امت نے اتنا بھی نہیں جانا، آیات قرآنی کو کوئی نہیں پہچانا، جلتا رہا قرآن، زینب ہے پریشان، زینب ہے پریشان، شام غریباں، زینب ہے پریشان، ہائے شام غریباں، ہائے شام غریباں، ہائے شام غریباں، ہائے شام غریباں، ہائے شام غریباں۔ حسین 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 یا 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 حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن 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 یا حسین اللهم صل على محمد و